England, Bath, York, Durham, the Cotswolds, Liverpool, London. 6 places, 2,000 years, and one country that was never made by the people it's named after. And in the next 10 minutes, you'll find out who did. England is the most instantly recognizable place in the English-speaking world. The green fields, the old stone, the village churches, the Georgian terraces, the Norman cathedrals. Almost none of it was built by the English. The baths were Roman. The street names are Norse. The cathedrals are Norman. The wool wealth came from Europe. The ports were built by the world arriving. Every generation of English people has been the descendants of somebody who wasn't. This isn't a takedown of England, it's a walk through how a country gets made. One wave at a time, one century at a time, one arrival at a time. 6 places, 2,000 years. Same thing happening over and over. Before we move on, please subscribe to GoBeyondia. Bath. 1st century A.D. The Romans arrive in a Celtic Britain that already has a sacred hot spring, sacred to a goddess called Sulis. The Romans don't destroy the shrine. They rename her Sulis Minerva, build a temple over the spring, and construct one of the most sophisticated bathing complexes in the empire. It runs for 300 years. Then Rome withdraws in the 5th century, and Bath is abandoned. The complex silts over. The stones sink. For more than 1,000 years, nobody knows it's there. Fast forward to the 18th century. Bath is being rebuilt as a fashionable spa town. Georgian architects designing Roman revival buildings, columns, colonnades, elegant crescents, a Roman-inspired pump room where the wealthy come to take the waters. What none of them know is that the real Roman bath complex, the actual thing they're trying to imitate, is buried directly beneath their feet. It's only rediscovered by accident in 1878 when a workman doing sewer repairs breaks through what turns out to be the ceiling of the Roman temple. Bath had spent a century imitating a building it was standing on top of. England imitated something it was already standing on. Glad you are still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. York, 866. A Viking army takes the Roman-founded town of Jórvík and renames it Jórvík. For the next 88 years, York isn't English. It's Norse. Danish kings rule it. Norse traders run it. The language of daily life is Old Norse. In 954, the last Norse king of York, Eric Bloodaxe, is killed. Anglo-Saxon rule returns. The Vikings are defeated militarily, and their language stays anyway. Walk York today, and you're walking a Norse map. Coppergate, from Coppery, cup maker. Micklegate, from Mickle, great. Stonegate, Fossgate, Gudremgate. Every street ending in gate takes its name from the Old Norse word gata, meaning street. Not gate as in a door, street. 1,000-year-old set of directions, still in daily use, in a language nobody speaks anymore. York is the clearest case in England of a defeated people leaving a permanent linguistic layer on the land they lost. The kingdom ended in a single afternoon. The words never left. The Vikings were defeated and stayed anyway. Glad you're still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. Durham, 1066. William the Conqueror crosses the Channel with a Norman army, defeats the last Anglo-Saxon king at Hastings, and takes the whole of England within 5 years. The conquest is total. Every major English cathedral, castle, and abbey is either destroyed, rebuilt, or added to under Norman direction over the next century. Durham Cathedral, begun in 1093, is the masterpiece. Norman masons build it on a rock above a loop in the river Wear. Half worship, half fortress. Its ribbed vaulting and pointed arches are among the first structural examples in European architecture, decades before French Gothic makes them famous. But here's what Durham reveals about the Norman project. The cathedral was built specifically to house the shrine of St. Cuthbert, the most beloved saint of the Anglo-Saxons the Normans had just conquered. The Normans didn't erase the saint. They built the largest religious building in Northern Europe around him. Occupation expressed as architecture. We own your God now. For 1,000 years afterward, English worshippers have walked into a Norman building to venerate an Anglo-Saxon saint. Both cultures preserved, neither one on top. The conquerors didn't erase the saint. They built over him and kept him. Glad you are still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. The Cotswolds, 400 years ago, this English countryside was the wealthiest region in the country, and its wealth came from Europe. Cotswold lion sheep produced the finest wool in medieval Europe, and the buyers were Flemish weavers, Italian merchants, and the great trading cities of the continent. English wool exports were the single largest source of royal revenue for 2 centuries. The money built cathedral-scale churches in villages of a few hundred people, Chipping Campden, Northleach, Cirencester, parish churches so grand they're known collectively as wool churches, funded by continental buyers paying for a commodity produced on English hillsides. Then, in the 17th and 18th centuries, the wool trade moved north to the industrial mills of Yorkshire and Lancashire, closer to coal and mechanized spinning. The Cotswolds were suddenly cash poor. Too poor to modernize, too poor to knock the old cottages down and rebuild in Victorian brick. The rest of England rebuilt itself. This corner didn't. The Cotswolds are what England looked like before it got rich, preserved by the fact that the money left. The England everyone pays to see survived because nobody could afford to change it. Glad you're still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. Liverpool. This is the hinge. For most of the first 4 segments, the story was invasion. Armies arriving on English soil, staying and leaving their mark. Liverpool is where that story reverses, where England stops receiving invasions and starts sending ships out into the world. By the 1790s, Liverpool was one of the largest ports in Europe, and by that decade, Liverpool controlled more than 3/4 of the British transatlantic slave trade. Over 5,000 slaving voyages departed from these docks, carrying an estimated 1.5 million enslaved Africans to the Americas. The city has publicly acknowledged this history. The International Slavery Museum at the Albert Dock exists specifically to name what the docks were used for. That same waterfront then received the survivors of the Irish famine, nearly 2 million Irish arrivals through Liverpool in the mid-1800s. It became home to Britain's oldest Chinese community, dating to the 1860s, and one of Britain's oldest West African communities. The Windrush generation of Caribbean migrants passed through it in the 1940s and 50s. The same dock architecture that shipped human beings later received the people who made the city what it is. Liverpool is the English city where the country's wealth came from the world before its people did, and where the debt was paid over generations in the opposite direction. The debt was paid in the opposite direction. Glad you are still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. London. Every wave in the previous 5 segments happening simultaneously for 2,000 years in one city. Roman foundation as Londinium around 47 AD. Norman conquest and the White Tower, begun 1078. Huguenot silk weavers arriving in the 1680s, fleeing religious persecution in France. Bengali sailors settling in the East End from the 1700s. Irish migration in the 1800s. Jewish arrivals from Eastern Europe around 1900. Caribbean Windrush from 1948. Bengali, Somali, Nigerian, Polish, Turkish, Vietnamese, Ethiopian, and dozens of other communities arriving through the 20th and 21st centuries. Today, London speaks more than 300 languages. Roughly 40% of Londoners were born outside the United Kingdom. There is no majority ethnicity in the city, no group larger than any other. Every previous segment was a single wave. London is every wave, still arriving. It is the only major European city that has been continuously inhabited for 2,000 years and has never once been made of only one people. London isn't the exception to England. London is the pattern finished. Glad you are still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. So, the title was never an insult. The Romans built the baths. The Danes named the streets. The Normans raised the cathedrals. Europe paid for the churches. The world built the ports and then filled them. Nothing here was built by the English, because there was never a single moment when the English were only one thing. The country isn't what survived the arrivals. The country is the arrivals. Every generation of English people is the descendants of somebody who wasn't. That's not England's weakness. That's the whole reason it lasted. You stayed this long, you're family now. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. I am Beyondia, and I go through the world slowly. Short stories every week, around the world with Beyondia, one place at a time, one thing worth knowing. And every so often, a longer one like this, the Atlas, If you'd like to keep traveling with me, that's where I'll be. Travel, learn, grow, one touch away. Subscribe to GoBeyondia.